Good evening, everybody. How you doing? How you doing?
What up?
It is Medical Talk in layman's terms with Nurse Charlene, and the topic is sleep disorders.
Oh yeah.
And tonight, my special guest, a lot of people know him as my son, SUN. No, my son, Michael Jefferson. And he's going to come on here and co chair with me as we talk and get through some sleep disorders. And the reason why Mike Jefferson is on this evening and stuff is because he has firsthand knowledge on certain sleep disorders and stuff. So he's done the research. We got the facts and everything. So we coming to you with some real stuff here and everything. So before I get started, of course, I wanted to say Happy Nurses Week. Hey! And stuff. It's Nurses Week from May 6th to May 12th. And guess who? Thank you, everybody. If I do say so myself and stuff, it's Nurses Week and stuff. I'm excited. Coming with a fresh topic. You know, nobody is doing it right now and stuff. So hey, we're gonna go right on in. Before I get started though, so that I can stay on and stay giving you this good stuff. And everything is, I'm going to read my podcast disclaimer. And that is, the podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Yes. Always consult with your physician for any medical concerns. If you have questions about a medical condition, reach out to a qualified healthcare professional, your doctor. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on this podcast. Of course, in any other podcast, go to your doctor. Okay. And then guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host, which is me, or this podcast. And then we have the information shared is for general knowledge. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes. Always consult with a licensed professional who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation. You guys, you got to stay informed, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. You're a doctor. Professional advice. You're a doctor. Thank you guys all for listening to that. I have to say it over and over because guess who's learning too? Michael, you learning too?
I'm learning absolutely.
Yes. Sure. That's right. That's right. So again, I say Happy Nurses Week, nurses, and welcome to Medical Talk in layman's terms with Nurse Charlene. The topic is sleep disorders, and I have a dynamic guest speaker, Mike Jefferson, on here, and he's going to talk about facts and research on what we're talking about, which is sleep disorders. And as always, it's always good to get you guys in by letting you know what we are talking about. What are they talking about here and stuff? And that would be explaining the definition of sleep disorder, not a particular one, just the simple definition. And it's not even really all that complicated. It's basically sleep disorders are health problems. Don't we talk about that and stuff that make it hard to sleep well regularly? If that makes sense. Hard to sleep well. That means getting a good night's rest or a good nap or whatever it is and doing it regularly like you're supposed to. And you may have trouble falling asleep or either staying asleep or feeling rested after you slept because you woke and slept and woke and slept and stuff. So that's where the problem lies and everything. So we're going to be talking about that. So the other thing that I wanted to mention before I let my dynamic speaker on, Mike Jefferson, is the 5 most common sleep disorders. and he's going to be going into depth with these, but I'm just going to run through them real quick and stuff. And insomnia, I know a lot of people don't know what that
Pause,
is.
pause.
They have,
Because I think this could be powerful. As you
yes,
go over these, I think if
yes,
anybody want to just go into the comments and,
yes,
if it's like, man, like tell me more about that one, just like throw some stuff out there, because while I'm going in on some topics and understanding, I'm sure my mom would be right. She loves being in the comments. So if you interact, she's going to interact
yes.
and share as much information, or she messaged me afterwards and be like, hey, this person said this. What do I say? And I give her that information because I might have mentioned it or know a little more about it in that area or have more experience. So
Yeah.
for sure, 100%, I highly recommend as she's going over. It's not a diagnosis, but if you start to feel like, hey, man, I think that might be
That's
me.
happening to me.
That might be what I'm going through. Comment and let's talk about it for sure.
Yes, yes.
Let's get into it.
So that main one is insomnia. I hear you loud and clear and stuff. And that one is the ability to not be able to go to sleep. That means you up like this. And so I forgot this, but I gotta add it, Mike, and stuff. Look behind me. Look at that. Look at Picasso again. So it's sleep disorders, right? So look at that. This one up here at the top, he getting his Z's or she getting her Z's. They getting down. That's the Z's over there. The universal sign for sleep. But look right there, above my head. One says, "I can't sleep. I can't stay awake." No, one says, "I can't wake up," and they got the eyes closed, and stuff. And that one says, "I can't sleep." And that means, we call it the high beams when your eyes is open and you like, you in the twilight zone because you can't even go to sleep and fall asleep. So you up, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's crazy, and stuff. And then for those who ever suffer from sleep apnea and stuff, that's a CPAP machine. That's that machine. They put this big old giant scuba diving mask on you, and it blows forced air into your body to make you breathe, because I will explain that in just a second. But insomnia is these are the symptoms. That's all I'm gonna do. Insomnia is trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, waking up too early, daytime fatigue, irritability, and poor concentration, impaired work or social performance, meaning your work performance is blah. Oh, they lazy. No, they probably didn't get no sleep, so they tired. And then they come to work, they grouchy, they ready to fight anybody. Everybody is irritating them. And yeah, you couldn't fall asleep. So you got to get that. Didn't I say your body is a snitch? You got to tell on it. Okay. So that's insomnia and stuff. And I got other stuff, but we got some treats for you tonight. So the other one is sleep apnea. And that one is the when you're sleeping, you block yourself. You actually cut off your airway several times a night and everything, causing you to not breathe. Guess what? If you don't breathe, then what happens? You die and stuff. But you're not breathing all night long, so you never really got any sleep because you stopped breathing 21 times in your 6-hour span that you were asleep or something, or your 8-hour span that you were asleep 20, 30 times and stuff. You stopped breathing for almost up to a minute or something like that. That's dangerous. That means you're not breathing. What you think CPR is, and stuff like that. So it's the symptoms of it: loud snoring, gasping or choking during sleep, and stuff like that. Pauses in breathing. That's the not breathing. Excessive daytime sleepiness because you didn't get any sleep. Morning headaches because your brain is not getting the oxygen it needs and stuff. It's dangerous and stuff. Difficulty concentrating because you didn't get enough rest so that you have a clear head. Okay, so this is how serious it is. Then you got restless leg syndrome. And these are the 5 most common. There's a whole bunch of them, a whole slew of them. I think they're up to about 100 or something like that and stuff. But these are the main ones that people suffer from or know to tell on and stuff eventually. Narcolepsy. And this one, the symptoms, this one is excessive sleep. So you fall asleep at the drop of a hat, but it's not good sleep. You just can't come out of the twilight zone. It's a constant, it's a burden even, and stuff to fall asleep and just, if you're not concentrating or find ways to manipulate yourself like a smart person that's going to be telling us some things and stuff like that, then you could die from this, and stuff. It's very deadly and stuff. But if you're healthy and you find ways to cope, there's ineffective coping and there's effective coping. If you find ways to cope, you could still live out a healthy life and live your life, and everything and stuff. But it's still difficulty. But we have a lot of things like that. And some of the symptoms: uncomfortable sensations in the legs, tingling and crawling and aching in the legs. This, so this causes trouble sleeping or staying asleep or getting good rest. Strong urges to move legs. I said the wrong one. I'm sorry. Was I talking about narcolepsy or was I talking about restless leg?
You talked about both. I think you just
both of them. So no, I just said that wrong. I was like, why is it talking about legs and stuff while I'm reading it? But narcolepsy, I'm sorry, and stuff is excessive daytime sleepiness, sudden sleep attacks. Like these are naps that you wasn't planning on taking, and stuff. Those kind of sleeping attacks. This thing called cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle tone. It's almost as if you're paralyzed in a certain state. You can't move, but you're awake, or you think you're awake, but you can't even move, and stuff. It's really crazy and it's dangerous and stuff. Sleep paralysis. That's another one where it's almost like you can't move your arms, your legs, or nothing. You have to sit there until that kind of calms down and stuff before you can move again and stuff. And it's nothing you could do about it. It's involuntary, and stuff. And then hallucinations when falling asleep or waking up, meaning you thought you were woke and you were still asleep. Like you could be asleep with your eyes open, and stuff. It's that, crazy, but it's also that dangerous, and stuff. So this is no joke and stuff. And that's narcolepsy. Please forgive me for stating the wrong things. For the restless leg syndrome, that's the uncomfortable tingling and crawling, the urge to move your legs. They're shaking when you're laying still in the bed, in your comfortable bed, by the way, because it doesn't matter if your bed is comfortable if you got one of these sleeping disorders. Nothing helps that. Not even a comfortable bed and everything. The relief of movement. This is restless leg syndrome. And sleep disruption, insomnia, and daytime fatigue, because your legs is always moving, so you can't get that good sleep because it almost feels like somebody's shaking you out of your sleep. So your sleep is disturbed. And then I told you about the narcolepsy. And then last but not least, it's another one called REM sleep behavior disorder, or RBD, or parasomnias. And the symptoms of it is dream enhancement, talking, yelling, punching, kicking, sleepwalking. This is where that sleep, it's really a such thing as sleepwalking, where somebody can walk down the street or something, open up their door and walk down the street because they see something different than we see somebody in their pajamas walking, but they're asleep. They don't know they're doing this. So it's all types of stuff you got to do, when somebody has that type of thing, talking in their sleep, night terrors, waking up screaming, yelling, punching, ready to fight. The risk is injury to yourself or your partner, your wife, your husband, or something like that and stuff. It's terrible. but these are sleeping disorders, but we can't sleep on sleeping disorders. So I just wanted to get that out and everything and stuff. So now I'm going to introduce my dynamic speaker, Mike Jefferson. You go ahead with your truth and everything and stuff, and then as people come in and everything, and remember, come on in and stuff. This is interactive. We want to hear your questions and everything. I'll be manning the questions while Mike is on talking about the different sleep things and stuff like that and stuff, and giving you more insight on it and everything. Welcome on in.
Oh,
all
for
right.
Sure. Appreciate it, Mom. I think one of the greatest things I want to mention, I like to take a little moment to talk about me just, being proud of you, because I'm on my own, thing. I'm a grown man, I'm doing my thing out here. You know what I mean? The city of Vacaville, just an hour or so away from where you are. And even though it's like an hour, it feels like it's so far away, but it's also super close. And but at the same time, I know that while I'm living my life and just knowing that you are adding value, you know what I mean, wherever you are, whether we were living together when I was younger and then, later on in life, we're always on the phone and having conversations about how we could grow and change and develop mentally, physically, and everything. And just watching you as a manifestation of somebody that, like, you're not sitting around, not letting your heart and your soul come out. So I just appreciate you for being you, inspiring me to always want to continue being me, is like, because I got a hero. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people that they don't have that relationship with their mom, unfortunately. And I don't want to speak about that. You know what I mean? That's their thing to speak about. But I hear it a lot. You know what I mean? The relationship between them and their parents is a thing. And we've been able to create through the good times and the bad times, we've been able to create a solid bond that is going to exist forever. And I appreciate that. And I love that, And so, with that said, I mean, some stuff we talked about, that you talked about, what's interesting about it for me, I like to talk about I want to go into like why you even have me on this podcast, right? Like, as soon as you thought about, I want to talk about health, boom. Now there's a podcast about sleep. It's like, if you know me, if anybody is near, me about 2%, you know that if you're going to do anything to do with sleep, you probably should contact me. Just anything like sleep. Sleep is such a crazy part of my life. This is before even at the age of 25, discovering that I had narcolepsy. Well, was it 25? 25. They were 25. I discovered I had narcolepsy in the 20s. So a quarter of a century around, my life just kind of went by and I had no idea. And my mom probably chimed in at some point around what life was like for her, because I'm open with sharing this stuff. And I think anybody, if you have, a disease or a disorder or whatever it might be, sometimes people just they're looking for somebody to relate to, right? They're looking for somebody that they could be like, man, like, he's brave. He said it. I'm that guy. I'll be that guy if it helps somebody out. If they have any of these like REM and non-REM, sleep disorders related to what I have going on inside me, like, we could talk, we could chat. We should be a group of people that hit each other up, because it's something that's real. I think the scary thing about having a sleep disorder is that it's sleep. And then we live in America, where everybody ain't got no good sleep, right? Like, everybody's sitting here working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, trying to do their side hustles and everybody tired, man. It's a go world. You know what I mean? I went to college in New York, and I told my mom, I remember when I got out there, I was like, I get it now. It's not that New Yorkers are mean. It's not that they're, bad word holes, right? It's not that they're, they're just like, they don't care about other human. They are cold. First of all, like, it gets extra cold. They get all 4 seasons. Like, I watched my tear drop down and then freeze on my face. Like, that stuff really happens out there. So they ain't got time to communicate back and forth. They should be walking. They be gone, right? Nobody has a car out there because the train system is so robust. And so it's just go. I had shifts where I was working 4 o'clock in the morning until about noon or whatever it might have been at Starbucks. And so in this time of my life, it's like, sleep for what? You can sleep when you die, right? It's like, just go for it. So not only did I have narcolepsy, on top of that, I was inundated by this world that didn't prioritize sleep health. And so, what was funny is, like, and if you did the college route and everything, you start like taking certain classes, especially in the psychology area. And just like we talked about, you start hearing some things, and it's like, hey, that sound kind of familiar. I actually wrote an essay in college on narcolepsy, and I plus. marked everything off. As soon as I wrote that essay, the teacher came up to me and she said, "Hey, Mike, I need to talk to you. I need to have a conversation with you. The best essay I've ever read ever, and not only is it the best essay, I believe that you're not speaking from like somebody who's studying narcolepsy. I think, and I'm not going to diagnose you because I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not here to do that. But I'm just friend to friend. You might want to go get a sleep study." Like, I'm in New York. I don't even know if I have health insurance or not. Like, I don't know. Like do I? I don't know. I'm young. And she was like, as soon as you get home after college, like, go get a sleep study. Like, I think you might have narcolepsy. Because when I read the memoirs, and she even saw how excited I was to talk about this subject. I didn't know I had it, but when I imagine people who did have it, I'm like, oh, like, yeah. And he feels like this. And I can imagine that that's probably like this. And he's probably going through that. And it was like, well, you really know this disease. Like, how do you? That's crazy. So fast forward, and I'll skip ahead a little bit, just to give you some context as to why I'm even on this podcast about to speak about sleep and the architecture of sleep and the stages and some of that stuff too. Just to give you that layman's, because remember the point of this podcast too is developing your understanding of sleep. What does non-REM mean? What is rapid eye movement? What is that stuff? So I want to go over some of that stuff as well. Just kind of break down these words. But I came home and then my mom, I don't know if you scheduled the appointment or if I did that, but I went in and it was in Alameda Center for Sleep Disorders or something like that. Yeah. I remember in there was like, I was like, how does this go, man? What do I have to do? And he's like, yeah, you're going to be here overnight. So you know what I mean? You know, you're going to be in here. And he's like,
get comfortable.
One person one time, they came in and like, they went through like 3 or 4 episodes. Man, it was wild. And I was like, tell me about episodes. What does that mean? So he's like, oh, you don't know. And I was like, okay, this is what happens. It's called a multiple sleep latency test. Here's how it works. We're going to hook you up to all these electrodes, right? We're going to stick you in this room inside of a bed. I'm watching you on the camera the whole time. So it's a little creepy, but don't worry. We're good. We're buddies. You want to high five me. I didn't want to high five. I'm like, tell me more. I got to trust you, brother. So he gets into it. He's like, we're going to wake you up at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., however many times trials we need. Now, by the way, remember, he had already disclaimer. He was like, look, you know, I'm not supposed to really talk about other people's stuff, but like this one guy had like 3-4 episodes. And I was like, so now I'm understanding what that means. It meant that he's going to wake me up 3 or 4 times. So 6, 7, 8, 9 potentially. And if you get all the way to like 4 or something like that, that means you are like severe narcolepsy. Like you definitely have some kind of issue. And how does that issue happen? They wake you up.
Yep.
Slept over all night for 8 hours, right? They wake you up at 6 o'clock. Normal people with normal functioning brains, when you turn the light on and the photons hit your eyes, your brain will start sending chemicals to wake you up. If you have that natural process. But if you don't, what happens is they turn the lights on, they tell you to get up, you have to walk around, and then they tell you to lay back down and try to go to sleep. If you're able to go to sleep within a certain time frame, it's called a latency time. And if you go to sleep during that time frame, how quick you go to sleep will determine like how like the dysfunction of that sleep wake system that you have, right? So I was like, oh, okay, so that guy must have just kept falling asleep, you know, within a handful of minutes. Like, yeah, he was like, dude, like 2, 3, 4 minutes, that dude was already to sleep. It was crazy. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. So now we get to a place where it's like, okay, it's my turn. I'm all hooked up. We go in there. I'm waking up at 6, 7, 8, 9. So he woke me up at 6. He woke me up at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Like, it's like hours and hours go by. I'm like, dude, it's already like noon by now. Like, what's happening here? That dude's face was pale when I walked out of there. I walked over to him and I was like, you know, you kind of told me that thing about the other guy. Can you tell me anything about the result? I felt like I was here for a long time. And he was like, well, you know, I'm not supposed to talk about anything, so talk to your doctor. And I was like, hey, brother, we were just cool right before. Go ahead and share it with me. I think he got scared. I think he got scared because he was just telling me about the dude with the record, and I blew it out of the water as far as having the worst issues that he's ever seen. And so what that was this: every time they woke me up, within a minute or two, I was already asleep. And I can demonstrate it right now on the podcast. If enough people like and subscribe right now, I will demonstrate right now. If I grab the pillow right here, I got my cover on lock right. If I lay down and just close I ain't even gonna try because it might actually happen. for like maybe a minute or two, about 2-3 minutes, I'll be out all the way asleep. And it's just that, and that's after 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. What's going on? What's happening? Most people, you ever notice you go to sleep too long, you can sleep in, and then eventually you just get, it's like, it hurts to stay in bed. Your brain starts hurting. So I got to get up. I don't have that feeling. I've heard people describe it. I don't know what that's like. If I don't need to get up and go, I will sit there and sleep until the next day. And then maybe use the bathroom and go back and be like, I'm so tired. I'm trying to finish this and it's not finishing. It feels like, imagine if you're like hungry and you just keep eating. That's how it is for me with sleep. I can just keep doing it. I don't need to stop. So I'm like metaphorically obese when it comes to like my consumption of sleep, because I do it a lot, and nothing can stop me. Like it's really hard to stop. And not nothing can stop me, but it's really hard to stop me. I had to develop a lot of guardrails to figure out how to like manage and manifest my life differently. And so with that all said, I'm not qualified to be like any doctor to speak about this stuff, but it's just my experience, right? It led me into a lot of shit. So I'm gonna jump into some of that like action so we can all have this understanding of what sleep even is, right? And I love this idea that I was doing some research and I went back over some of my old essays. And it's this idea that like, okay, sleep is fundamental to the biological process, right? We know that we need it. We're not quite sure its complexities of why we need it, but we know that if you don't get it for a handful of days in a row, you could die. Like it'll kill you. Not like water though, right? Not like these like essential things. So people can go with very little sleep for years. There are people you might know that might sleep for 2-3 hours every night for years. The older we get, we actually need less sleep. The older we get. Whereas if you think about babies, right, like they sleep a lot. So
yes,
it starts to just kind of diminish over time within your life. And so it's not just like a turning off of your brain. Research, as soon as we were able to figure out how to, what is EEG, EKG, EEG. As soon as we figured out that technology and started hooking it up on people, what we learned was that your brain is even more active when you sleep than when you're awake. Like all of the centers of your brain start going crazy a lot more than when you're awake. Now, not the whole time. There are these different what they call sleep stages. So the first thing you want to understand when it comes to sleep is like the architecture of sleep. How have they been able to like isolate out what sleep is? And they call it like stage 1. If you ever heard stage 1, sleep stage 2, 3, 4, and REM, right? So these what they call like N1, N2, N3 in the research terms, right? It's just non-REM stages and then the REM stages. Now REM, which means rapid eye movement, particular. And let's talk about why is it even called rapid eye movement. It's called rapid eye movement because if you ever look at somebody's eyes while they're in REM, let me see if I can demonstrate it. Can you see that?
Yeah. That.
And so if somebody's eyes is doing that when you look at them, they're in REM right now. Like if you so you go test it out on your little cousin or your child or something like that. Walk over to them, you look down. If their eyes are going crazy, they're in REM. That stage is associated with muscle atonia. So you described a disorder called sleep paralysis, and you also described one called sleep walking, right? So your body naturally, what's supposed to happen is when you go to sleep, you don't just dip straight into REM. It's supposed to be this 90-minute cycle of you going from stage 1, 2, 3 is like on a deeper delta waves are coming in. That's deep sleep is actually stage non-REM, stage 3. So people are like, man, I got deep restorative sleep. That's not REM. REM is active. You're like, man, they think that the bottom one, because it's dead last, is that one is actually way more active. So the slowest, deepest stage you can do is stage 3. And that's going to be your deepest stage. And that's when they call like the delta waves are coming out. So you're like really starting to go slow, really starting to. And then once you go from that, it's like your stuff starts to kind of almost like you die. Like it's like, then it just starts going crazy. That's when your eyes start boom, 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 REM. And so you're not in REM for very long. But that's when you're starting to dream. You're having vivid dreams. Like the more vivid your dream, the more that stuff starts to go crazy. One of the big things that I've noticed is that when you have these REM behavior or these REM sleep disorders, these that are related to like parasomnias and all those different things, when you have stuff that that's associated with that, your muscle atonia doesn't always kick in the right way. So there's been situations, for example, if you ever had, and many people experience this, where you're asleep, right? Your eyes might be on its way out, but they ain't quite closed. And then you're like, all right, let me try to move. And you can't move. You just stuck right there. You just sitting there you're like, bro, I'm trying to get up. And then you might be like trying to scream like, help me.
That's paralysis.
You're trying to move and nothing is happening. Like I'm trying to grab. This happened actually the other night because it happens all the time for me. So, and it feels, and here's the thing that's crazy about it. When I did research, it saved my life because I found out that my brain, right, my amygdala, the fear response of your brain, right, is firing off while the other areas of your brain is actually slowing down. So your executive functions, your prefrontal cortex, slow it down. Scary part, go nuts. So if that's happening, obviously you're going to interpret everything that's going on in that moment. If you become a little conscious, imagine like your consciousness is like in and out of you, right? And then like when you become consciously aware, at the same time, your brain, like your vehicle, is only highlighting amygdala right now. Then you're just in fear. You're like, oh, you seeing ghosts? You know what I mean? You start feeling like, oh, I'm trapped in this body and somebody's trying to, like, you start coming up with all kind of stuff. There are many different religious and ancient cultures that talked about it being like the ancestors or like demons or all kind of things. You start feeling that stuff. It feels scary just like that. And to be honest, I don't know if it wasn't for me researching and finding out that that's what my brain is going through. And so it feels scary. Then I was able to actually control that. So if anybody ever had like lucid dreams where you can control your dreams and things like that, part of that is certain things. Becoming consciously aware of your environment and exactly how you're feeling and why you're feeling it. And then you can actually like control what you're doing. And I can start flying away. I can beat somebody up. The weird thing is like when you try to fight people, you can't really hit them like you really want to in your dreams. Anybody ever notice that? Comment for sure.
Yeah, but, a little slap.
It's like, man, you be trying to knock somebody out. Yeah.
Mike, there's a question. Sonia says, can drug addiction enhance that state?
Sure.
I'm sure it does too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I know you spoke on another podcast about like drug usage, marijuana in particular. I know a lot of people who have user experience in marijuana. They talked about how it suppressed their dreams. So they didn't have dreams. They just didn't experience dreaming for a long time. And then when they stopped smoking weed, then it started flooding in like crazy. They had all these vivid, crazy dreams all the time. So there is a lot of ongoing research about marijuana and its effect on you synthesizing your memories and your sleep stages and which stages.
Yes.
A lot of research on that.
It's a lot.
Sleep and drugs. Yeah, that was a good question because certain drugs for sure, and alcohol as well, they disrupt your sleep for sure. They cause all kind of disruptions there when it comes to just the ability of you just doing a bunch there. That's why a lot of times, marijuana or some of these drugs, they're associated with like memory loss or like you can't remember what happened.
Marijuana is one.
Talking like it's a lot of association with memory loss, but memory retention happens in these deeper stages of sleep where you are starting to consolidate things, and that's why your brain is really, really active. We thought it just went blank. It's very active at certain stages. Stage 2, it'll like kick on and then kick off, and then kick on and kick off. Stage 3, it just kind of kicks off, and then it gets prepared for REM where it just bursts like crazy, and then you restart that cycle every 90 minutes. So some of these people, actually everybody who has sleep disorders, believe it or not, their REM and non-REM stage architecture is what the issue, like it's off for whatever reason. Narcolepsy is because you may not have hypocretin or orexin. There's a neuron in your body that will cause you to, it's called the wakefulness neuron, right? And so if you don't have that mechanism, then there's nothing in your body telling you to go to like stay awake. So you're just kind of like going off the other area. So I'm gonna go back into some of this research. After I really understood the sleep stages, which is key, N1, N2, N3, and then you got your REM sleep. Then you want to go into like this idea of like your body having this homeostasis. It's always trying to like, it'll always try to fight back sleep, right? So if you ever notice you stayed up extra late, you had an essay, you're doing a bunch of stuff, and then you're going through your routine, and you're just not getting much sleep. You start getting, your body will try to steal it from you. it'll be like your body's a snitch.
Yeah.
You could clip that one for sure. Your body's a snitch. Okay, it'll try to take it from you. It'll do this. It'll say, "Oh, you ain't gonna give me no sleep." Well, on your way driving, you're gonna end up having that moment where you're driving and you're gonna
boom.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh,
start tipping off in the middle of your drive, or
you
you're gonna
swear you awake.
You might be at your desk at your computer, just at work, and then you're just like, you might have saw Barney or something like that start appearing, and Mickey Mouse and they all going to the park. Where y'all going? And you're like, why am I thinking about Barney and Mickey Mouse? Why am I thinking about dinosaurs? What's wrong with me? It's because you haven't slept, right? Like my mom was talking about, it's gonna snitch, it's gonna tell on you. And what's it? How does that state affect your daily health routine? Is she referring to like the narcoleptic state, or what is she referring to there?
I believe it's the narcoleptic stage, because you will be considered an expert in that and everything. And how does that state affect your health and daily routine as you go along with each day? Like, maybe if you could give us a typical day in the life of Mike Jefferson with narcolepsy.
Just like for sure guarantee that to prioritize being a full-time anything is not in the cards for me, unfortunately. Like I tried multiple times to be a teacher, and I still teach it, but I'm a substitute teacher right now. And what that looks like is just like everybody who has Uber Eats or something like that, or DoorDash, I get an app too. And I say, all right, I'm on Tuesday and Friday. And between my beautiful wife and her and me, we've been able to work out our income to where I may not have to work more than, 20, 30, 40 weeks, 24, 30, 40 hours a month. I don't have to go into like 40 hours a week every single week, because if I did, I would try, and I've done it. But she watched what happens to my body. She watched what happens to like my mind, and how I can force myself to do almost anything. Like I've gotten world titles. I've put my body through things. I've ran half marathons. I've fought. I'll fight. If you want me to fight, I'll fight.
Right.
I'll fight. But
that's right.
It's not the smart fight, because I'll be fighting and I'll be driving. And she's had moments where she was crying all night trying to figure out where I was. And I was pulled over on the side of the road trying to get some sleep. You know what I mean? I know other women are, other women are, is he cheating on me or not? She ain't never had to worry about nothing crazy stuff. Her biggest worry was like, is he dead? Did he crash? Like, I can't see. Yeah, like she was just constantly. So to have to deal with that and no longer, where I actually haven't had to pull over in the last handful of years because of just different lifestyle choices. So how does it affect my daily routine? I had to figure out a different way of making money, a different way of communicating with, employers and different things like that. Like, hey, look, I can come in, but I can only do this many weeks. I can only do this. And some people, again, because it's sleep, they're like, what's wrong with you? They're not supposed to ask, HIPAA, but if you're cool with somebody, you're going to tell them. And it's like, I got sleep disorders, right?
Real
it's like,
deal.
Brother. So everybody tired, what you talking about? And that's the thing that hurts, right? To go to somebody who has, think about they had anything. Let's say they had a broken leg, and it's like, man, I got broken pencils, you know what I mean? So I can't write sometimes. So everybody got broken stuff. So just get to work. And it's like,
just make it happen.
Your leg is broke, bro. It's different than your pencils. Even though we vote for going through something broken, it's not the same. So sleep as a sleep disorder, anybody with narcolepsy, I want to shout out to all y'all, because I know that feeling when you're sitting there. Because here's the thing, all of Americans are tired, right? Everybody is tired. So they feel like they have the same identification as you. It's different when you went to the doctor and found out you've been diagnosed with something else. And I didn't want to accept it. Actually, like for a long time, the medication, it was like $900 a month. And I paid it for like 1 or 2 months. And I was like, I can't pay for this medication no more. Luckily, the generic came out after a handful of years. A generic will come out if a pharmaceutical pill becomes new. When that comes out, then the generic make things cheaper. So I was like, cool. So now I've been ongoing prioritizing that, but I did not want to. I was like, I'm gonna be all natural. Whatever all natural means, right? Now realizing that everything is natural at this point. But what I wanted to really try to focus on is like, is there some kind of plant-based, herb-based thing? And I found some things like that can help out and aid. And then, but the thing about my body and how it metabolizes things is that, and this is something that's big. I feel like, I don't even know if you know this, Mom. I just discovered this. You know what ATP is?
Yes, it's energy.
Adenosine triphosphate.
Adenosine. Yep, I know. Energy.
Watch this, and this is I'm gonna put this in layman terms. It's your energy source, right? Every cell in your body uses adenosine triphosphate.
Fire.
Now, here's the crazy part about it. As your cells break down adenosine triphosphate bonds for energy, what's left is a byproduct, which is adenosine, because that's what happens. The energy comes from the triphosphate breaking off the 3 phosphates. So okay, going back into more layman, right? So now when you accumulate this adenosine inside of your body, it could lead to changes in your brain activity, slowing down your neural networks, and it's starting to it's going to slow down the networks that promote wakefulness. So when you really look at the issue of all of this stuff, like even like being tired or not, adenosine is affecting that process like directly. So the longer a person stays awake and the more energy their brain consumes. That's why having anxiety can lead to sleep issues, right? Like if you're stressed out all the time, that's why you can't go to sleep or you sleep too much.
Absolutely.
So having a homeostasis mentally, your mental health, if you got sleep issues, your mental health is huge. Sometimes people are having issues with sleep because they can't go to sleep because they're overactive at night. As soon as they lay down, they're like, I gotta do this tomorrow and everything, and then I gotta pay
these bills, and I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta go to this appointment. I gotta.
It just starts, and I'll be honest with you. I have a cure for that. It's called Google Calendar. Like it's called stop leaving it up here and then having anxiety.
Give it a break.
Just let your device give you a warning so that your brain can just go. I feel like that's one of the greatest things that's helped me with narcolepsy. Auntie mentioned the question around how to my daily life without calendars, without like warnings and reminders around stuff. Then it sounds like basic as heck. I'm telling you, I know it's going back to 5th grade though. What did your teacher write on the board every day in the 2nd and 3rd grade? 8 a.m. you doing this. 9 a.m. recess. 10 a.m. you was looking forward because you knew all that 2 hours until then. Right? And so, if I didn't start, man, there's so many appointments. I feel bad. Actually, I want to apologize to all of the friends and family that I've ever said I would be somewhere and I just didn't show up and didn't even tell you anything because I didn't know. I didn't have the right kind of system set up in my life to be able to deal with the narcolepsy and what it was going to do. Can you ever get rid of narcolepsy? No, you can never get rid of narcolepsy because literally what's happening is there is a neuron in your brain that doesn't exist. Okay. And so because it doesn't exist, your body can't do the proper operation.
Wakefulness. Yeah.
So all you can do is just find a strong way to to recreate
functionally succeed.
Yeah, you can recreate that wakefulness through a medication or working out or lifestyle choices. So working out for me is a mandatory thing. It's not like a kind of, I got to do this or not. So people are, you're just fit. You could just eat all you want. If I don't, my body is constantly burning stuff up too because of this identity. About this, I thought about my narcolepsy could be associated with my high metabolism. Because remember, energy, right? So let's play around with this. And we discovered something right now. You didn't even know. So look, if a person is awake for extra long, they're burning all their calories, their brain is going really fast, they're thinking really fast, they can just do something, right? They can talk, they're just going, that's all. Even though it's fun, it's stressful to your body. You're maxing out your capacities every conversation, every time you go into a new room, every time you're at work, every time you get off work, every time you go to the grocery store, your brain is just on the side of that, you didn't get good sleep, right? And so that overwhelmingness will build up in what's called sleep pressure. Sleep pressure for a narcoleptic person happens in minutes. Like you wake up in the morning after a full night of sleep. I wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, and I fall. Be honest, the amount of time I fall asleep on the toilet, it'll bother me. The amount of time I fell asleep in the closet, reaching over to grab a sock, and I was just like, man, if I just lay my head right here, I'm gonna just do it for like 1 minute. I don't even know why I convinced myself that I was okay to do, but I'll be like, man, I'm only gonna lay my hair here for like 1 minute. Like it ain't like I'm like about to go to sleep or and I'm out. And then it'll be like, oh, and then somebody will be like, where were you? And I'm like, I thought, man, I was on my way to work. And so the point is that's the sleep pressure. It'll build up really fast in my body. That phosphate that we were just talking about, that phosphate byproduct. Yeah, I bet that was happening when it comes to that sleep pressure buildup. And there's research that I did recently that found out that that's what's happening. It builds up so fast, metabolism, because everything, and it's firing off. So as soon as it builds up, that's why when I wake up and I'm actually awake, I try to get after life. Y'all,
gotta fight.
What's going on, bro? How you doing? Hey, let's get together. While I'm alive, I feel like I gotta get you. I gotta call you. I gotta say hi. I gotta find out about your kids. That's why I'm always contacting you at certain times all the time. Because I only have, because right after that 30 minutes, guess what? Gone.
Bam, it's gone.
Even if talking to me is like this. Oh, yeah, bro. Yeah. You feel me? Man, you know. And sometimes if you play around with it too, your friends and family will show these behaviors because they have something going on. They don't even know it. They'll be like, it's like, oh man, my boy John, he just super chill. You know what I mean? He just like that all the time. He might be fighting sleep and don't even know. He's got used to fighting.
Yes.
Just, you know, I'm just chilling, but I ain't really trying to do much. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of, it's like, but you didn't do much every day. And it's like, yeah, I still don't want to do much. You know what I mean? I just work. This is how it's my personality.
It's snitching.
Exactly. Ain't no personality. We're supposed to be climbing mountains and jumping and this and that. It's all, we're supposed to be ready to go. The body was made to be strong and go. Yes.
Mike.
Worse as you get older.
Yeah.
Typically, any of the narcoleptic forums that I'm a part of, that where they speak about things, and I'm not as active as I should be as far as like talking on it, but I'll listen to what people say. And they always talk about anybody that's like, when I look down the road, somebody 50, 60 with narcolepsy, it's only gotten worse. They eventually get fired from their jobs. There's no government or anything support. It happens a lot. It's like it's not a nice place to go in, to be honest. I know that they say like you should, you know, if you're an alcoholic, get around other like AA. I feel like that totally works for some people. For me, I'm like, man, I kind of, not that I want to act like it didn't happen, that it doesn't exist. I know it exists. And it does feel good when I can communicate with somebody. I've met people randomly.
Yes.
People who like, you have narcolepsy too? Oh my God, me too. I've never met another person. And we just be locking in, man. We know it. Like when you feel each other, and it's just a certain kind of love and compassion, because I don't know, the similar experiences, but on the note of just like how your body is trying to like take life back, right? And so you only got a certain amount of time to take that back, and then it builds up, and it's just what it is now. And I feel like your body trying to fight for years and years and years and years and years, eventually, you start to wear out. Now you can get stronger too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I used to know how many nods I needed to do before I was about to crash into the center beam. I would be like, I'm on number 4.
You adapt.
But not 2 more times, I gotta go pull over. You know what I mean? I used to like know how many. So that's not a good thing. I highly recommend people don't go that far. Get off the road, right? Find another way. But I love being a chef. You might need a different career path, right? You might need something. And here's the thing: for somebody who has narcolepsy, for me, the more exciting your life can be, the more you can stay awake. It becomes that missing erection, excitement becomes that. So having these conversations, I'm not falling asleep right now. I can't wait to share the rest of the stuff I got going on. So I'm good. I'm teaching martial art.
That's right.
My thing.
Yeah, because you fighting, you doing something.
Right. And if it's of actual value and I can feel that energy, I almost can get energy when people get value from me. So I'm like, how can I be better for you? You know what I mean? What can I do?
Another question, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one, because you talked about the martial arts and fighting and stuff like that, sport fighting and everything. Right. I was just wondering, because did you ever experience that when you were fighting, like you didn't have to get as excited as the rest of them when you were getting ready to fight? That's why, because you were very talented at fighting, you know, and stuff. But I always, you know, lightweight, you know, as your mother, worried about that also. And Sonia has a question. She said, what percentage of people have it?
So it's one in every 2,000 people get it. So that's about, of the population in the United States, is like 0.05%, right?
Oh, so it's very low. It's rare almost. Yeah,
it's rare. And that's, more people have it in America than worldwide. Like the worldwide is like 0.03. And then America is 0.05. So just a little bit more. I think Europe is 0.04. So It's still like this, like 1 to about 2,000 ratio. It's on the rarer side, but then that's just narcolepsy itself. You mentioned something about cataplexy, and that's when your body locks up and you
muscle tone or something. You go limp.
Like if your animal, pay attention to your animal when he gets too excited, and like some of them will pee, but some of them they'll get too excited and they'll just crash down, they'll just fall because they're so excited. That happens for me. But
like
I don't
peed your pants or something. Like
the diagnosis didn't come with cataplexy because it wasn't as prevalent. It didn't happen super often, but it would happen to where when especially like if I'm in an emotional conversation with my wife or something like that, I just start dipping away. And I'm like, it's even more uncontrollable. So I have to keep myself in this homeostasis. And it's weird because now it's like, oh man, Uncle died. Oh man, this happened. Oh man. Oh man, you just hit the lottery and everything.
Oh, you can't. Oh, like I think I remember doing that to you, Michael. Can I just interrupt just for a second because the part that I before we got on this live and everything, I was talking to Michael and stuff, and I was like, you know what, this is really important because a lot of people don't talk about sleep disorders. You just don't know, like, oh, they had a nightmare or something, it just kind of buzzes off. But we got to pay attention because a lot of us, even on right now, listening or looking, you may know somebody or maybe you and stuff. If you look at the symptoms, the different symptoms and stuff, they're so common that you'll mistake them and pass it up and stuff. And so I saw that Sonia had a question about is it a certain age? Yeah. No, it's not a certain age. It's just when you start seeing them symptoms, because this is what I'm about to go into with that. And that was a good, excellent question, because I wanted to say my experience with a son growing up. So this has been going on as long as I can remember. I don't remember as a child if you slept longer than normal children or something like that and stuff. I don't think I even knew or had the wherewithal to know that. But as you got older and stuff, we would go on vacations and stuff like that. And we'll be sitting on the couch and all of us talking, hey, what you doing? And Michael be asleep. I went and sat, we went and visited some people, family out of town and stuff like that. And we went into the young lady's room and stuff, and we all sitting on the bed talking and stuff. And the next thing you know, Michael was asleep across the woman's bed. I was like, Michael, and stuff. And I used to get mad, and stuff. And it was hard to wake him up for school. But I thought it's because he didn't want to go to school, and stuff. And it was hard to understand certain things, like when Michael would say, my neck hurting. And I'm like, you got a sore throat. Well, I know that now, being that I'm a nurse 21 years. But then, with your neck hurting, did you hurt it? Like, is it a stiff neck? I'm thinking of something else, and stuff that I might have had and stuff. So could you imagine that happening and stuff like that and all this time? And so I was like, Michael, I am so sorry. I said, I still live with a slight guilt because Michael always falling asleep. You need to get up and vacuum. You need to do this, and stuff. And I'm fussing at him, and he just looking like, like I didn't have to punish him or nothing, and so he was so low key, but at the same time, it was low key because he had narcolepsy. It changed his whole personality. He get a brand new Dreamcast or the brand new whatever the newest game, Xbox or whatever, when it came out, and I'm like, you ain't excited? That thing costs $400, or $300.
I'm gonna tell you something that's really weird, but I'll be honest with you, and this is no lie. I was trying to fight back the feeling. I didn't know it though, but now I can actually access it. It was a feeling that came with getting too excited. If I was like,
why you ain't excited? You went to Disneyland. Like,
as soon as I let it start to come up, I feel myself. So you mentioned the question. I'm actually gonna bring it back around. Karate tournaments. If anybody remember my division, what was my key thing? And this is why, again, I got blended in with everything, because all the black belts will be sleep in the bleachers. This is a normal thing. You be sleeping before your fight. Your nerves. It's like, oh, nerves. But it literally was nerves for me. Like, it was actually my nervous system was shutting down through the process of narcolepsy and cataplexy because of the excitement, right? So even in some of my last fights, people were like, "Why do you keep pushing the ground?" I remember somebody asked me that, and I was like, "I'm not pushing the ground because after I would hit the person, and then I'd be like." It feels good, right? Like,
weird, but
like,
no,
ooh.
that's true.
But then as soon as I oohed them, if I started getting if I got too into it, then I started noticing like this
You
tingle
was
would happen.
dizzy.
Like
Oh yes, and you had to stop.
Yeah, and I would be like, oh, my fingers are starting to. Oh, I'm going up. Okay, I got to move that down. I got to move that back down.
Ah, that excitement.
It was too much excitement. So, and that's why, like, I just started giving in. As soon as I started feeling it, it's like, when my division coming up, all right, look, if I had students or something, I'd be like, hey, look, wake me up right before the division. And so I remember it plenty of times.
Oh my God. So what's going on?
I was knocked out. They said, all right, Michael Jefferson versus John, whoever.
You was still asleep and go in there.
And I fought better sometimes because I was just relaxed. I was like, I don't even feel like it anyway. So it wasn't even like, yeah, let's get hyped up. I was just like, all right, come on. And then it was like when I'll get hit right in the face, and I'm like, all right, now I gotta whoop you. Now it's the trigger.
Now I gotta get you. I gotta get you.
Like Mike, like
you
I remember all the time these conversations where people would look at me and be like, how'd you lose?
Oh my God.
It's waxing. You, Mike Jefferson, you got all of these legs, you could do stuff that other people can't do. You can hold your leg up in a way that people your size can't do. You were supposed to just lay it on. Why didn't you do it? And I'm like, I'm still trying to wake up, brother. I'm sorry. Like I honestly, I haven't even woke up. You in my dream right now, believe it or not. Like I'm like, you think I'm here, and I'm just laughing at you because
they don't even get it. They can't even understand it because it's
which is a little dangerous, right? I mean, let's just put it out there. If you in a combat art, that other guy did. Oh, sorry, that thing came up. That other guy did not have to care about me, right? His goal could have been to try to hurt me, take me away from my family, in my life, because it's a fight. And really, when it comes to the way the martial arts works, there's malicious techniques, and then there's just good techniques. And if they're hard, they're just good. That was a good technique. So anytime I got hit, I couldn't be like, hey man, why'd you hit the cripple? Why'd you hit the narcoleptic guy? I don't want nobody to know none of that. I'm like, you hit me, and that was a good technique. You know what I mean? So that stuff, I feel like to a certain degree, I needed to suppress it. I needed to not allow for it to be a thing. But of course, later in life, it turned into all these other issues. You know what I mean? And the answer is yes. I will for sure be posting all this information around sleep disorders and everything. There is one thing I just on the research side I did want to add.
What about this one?
What is that? Well, you got some sleep, bro. All that hair on top of it. Man, you bring it up. That ain't about sleep. That's about just rubbing my head. That's
wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Every kid does it. My kid, their hair is pretty crazy. They got some great practice in their hair for sure. But there's this word I want to share that I want people to have in their just
absolutely.
They're understanding. It's called SCN, suprachiasmatic neurons, right? And I'm gonna break this down in layman's terms. I actually specifically wrote it down. I was like, how do I change the language of this so that it makes sense for everybody? So the suprachiasmatic nuclei, or SCN, I'm sorry, suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is basically a group of cells, nerve cells, right? That are in your hypothalamus.
Yes.
Specifically respond. They're the size of like a grain of rice. And they're specifically the size, they're called the master clock in your body. So when people are trying to figure out narcolepsy, insomnia, all of these different things that my mom had mentioned there, a lot of times your master clock could be off, right? This is your main thing. So how does this work? It controls your sleep. It basically keeps track of the time for your body. It tells your body when to feel awake and when to feel asleep. So when people say sleep-wake cycle, they're talking about the suprachiasmatic nucleus, right? And these specific cells, they interact with light. And that's why it's important for us to not be in the house all the time, to have the natural sun. We were told to kind of
keep that sunlight.
Honest, every time I feel extremely like when the narcolepsy is I'm talking about it's on extra, right? And I'm like, I don't feel like going to Costco or nothing. Like I don't feel like going nowhere. I'm just not into it. And then Laura, I'd be like, we just got to get out. As soon as I can get out and get that sun on my skin, it's almost like I come alive. I forgot that I was tired. I didn't even know. And I didn't even know, I was not speaking from what I actually felt like doing. I was speaking from how I felt. And a lot of times I have to try to beat that. I try to not speak from how I felt, speak from how you want to live right now. I want to be productive and be with my kids and do this. So I'll just be that. But in other moments, it's just overwhelming. And I can't wake up. And so what area of the brain is located? That's located in the hypothalamus that was mentioned. And so it actually controls the release of melatonin.
We're going to put some information.
For sure. So it controls the release of melatonin. And what's happening is there are neurons, cones and rods at the back of your eye. When your eye receives that, it triggers wake up or go to sleep, depending on how much light intake we're having. So this artificial light phones, you having your phone up to your face. I don't know if you've ever seen iPhones have the facial recognition, right? If you put like our baby camera has a night light on it, or what is it called? Like when you can see at night, what is it, night light?
Night vision. Night vision.
So what happens is if I have my phone like this and I look at it, I can go look at the app and the camera's up and it's dark in the room. It's just flashing light in my face the whole time. Like all while everybody's an iPhone, like maybe, I don't know, like 10 and above that has facial recognition. They're just flashing light in your face at all times. It's happening all day, every day. It's trying to like analyze your face in order to unlock, right? That's the idea. I'm not going on conspiracy. I'm just talking about facts.
AIU.
I'm not going in down that. I'm just saying that this is just what's happening, okay? Now, here's the thing that's happening too. Not only that, but these artificial lights we have in our own house, right? Sometimes people want that extra bright light, but it's like, but if you have that extra bright light at nighttime when your body should be away from those lights, it should only just be moonlight.
Right, like bring down so you could go to sleep.
Otherwise, it'll accidentally kick in the wrong stuff. So luckily for me, I don't have the physical mechanics that tells you to do that stuff. That's what narcolepsy is. You don't have the epicretin or the orexin neurons to tell you to wake up or go to sleep and all that stuff.
Yes.
Other people, it could be disrupted in some other ways, and so it may or may not affect your process. But it's bad for moods. It affects your moods. It's bad for your digestion. Is bad because your body is supposed to operate a certain way, and if it knows it's sleep, to do certain things when you sleep, it's supposed to do certain things when you're awake. But if it doesn't know which one is which, because you're putting the sun in your face all day at 9 p.m., you're putting the sun in your face, right? And then at 9 a.m., you in the house, not in the sun. And so, you know what I mean, or in the office. And so we have to start really working on, like, we work from home, go take a walk outside. You know what I mean? If we even if we have a job, it's like, hey, go take your break in the lunchtime, go outside, go see some sun. Big deal. Vitamin production, synthesis, and all that stuff. It's just so much. And I just learned to kind of like prioritize those things in my life. And it's changed. It's helped me at least live a life, right? So I can play with my kids and be something. Because when I look at these lefty forums, man, I read through that stuff and I'm like, oh my God, that could have been me. You know what I mean? If I didn't have like the will that I have, if I didn't have the parents I had, if I didn't have the association of people around me, that could have been me 100% because I feel their pain. It's hard for me to even tell them to try to be better. I don't even want to because I'm like, I get it. I get where you're at, man. I feel that stuff every day. And I feel how the world thinks that they can relate, but it's different. I know all of that, but I don't need to share that stuff and speak on that because the more I just speak on with the life I actually want, the more I can
manifest that.
Controlling my life. Yeah. Manifest. So highly encourage anybody that's going through any kind of issues with mental health and physical health, it's affecting your sleep, right? Your digestion, which we talked about, all that stuff is all intertwined with your sleep. This is like a very important, at least eye opener for people to start. There's so much more information to share, but the biggest thing is just sleep. It's just sleep. It's all it is. And us being able to have the proper sleep-wake cycles and be consistent. The body loves consistency. God loves consistency, right? He don't want you loving him now and then not, I'm going to go back.
Sometimes when you having it good, you forget.
You're supposed to be
love me all the time.
And I think our goal, to be honest, is to be my goal was to share some of this information. People can start to do their own research, do whatever you need to do to develop your sleep health. You know what I mean? There are things that help out. So me, for example, and my wife too, some people go to sleep. When they go to sleep, there's a different routes you can take, like valerian root. There's a melatonin that has like passion flower has been extensively researched. 35% versus placebo. I saw it was like either 25 or 35% showed that it helped people go to sleep. Just passion flower, just certain things like that in the right kind of potent levels. I think that you having certain magnesium, again, magnesium is big. Everybody talking about, but magnesium for sleep is huge for sleep.
Yes.
You need it. If you don't have the right
it's
kind of
a
magnesium,
supplement. So don't sleep on magnesium. We need that in our body to function. Absolutely. And there's different kinds of magnesium. That's the trick. There's kind for pain. There's kind for sleep. There's kind for immunity. There's for bone health, muscle health, and all these different things and stuff. So you need your magnesium and stuff. We got to stop sleeping on this stuff. Our body is a snitch. I don't know how to get that out there. I'm going to just keep on saying it over and over and stuff. Our body is a snitch. It's telling on us. We don't have a muscle cramp. Your hand doesn't cramp up for no reason. You don't get a headache for no reason. Any other day you don't have a headache. So when you get a headache, that means something happened. I don't know what it is, and everything, but just think about it. When you go to the doctor and you tell your doctor, yeah, I had this and my stomach was hurting and so-and-so made me sick to my stomach and stuff. Sick to your stomach? Do you know what that? So that's a feeling. Made me sick to my stomach. But your stomach is your stomach, and stuff like that. So if you're sick to your stomach or something made you sick to your stomach, that means that something mentally or emotionally happened that made you feel sick. You scared the ass out of me. You scared the shit out of me. How you scared the shit out of somebody? Yeah, it was coming out.
You can get into an emotional state, right? And then you got bubble guts. We talked
bubble guts. The famous bubble guts. Why do you get bubble guts? Nerds.
That some parent or friend or something just passed away or whatever, and you will start pooping differently from the thought, right? Like you're going to poop differently, but because of isn't that wild? That blows my whole mind. And it really gets you to focus on what's going on up here and how much that stuff interacts. That example, everybody had that feeling before.
Literally, it starts up here in the computer and functions.
Right? That's exactly right now. It's huge, and I think what we're trying to get to the culture. I feel like it would be a part. I know, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but it might be some merch coming out soon. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. Don't give me that. I ain't quoting. Like I might have seen a prototype or something like that. It looked pretty dope.
But it's coming. It's coming.
All I'm saying is this: the idea that your body is a snitch. The idea that your body is a snitch, and we all live in it. And you can watch other people live in it themselves, and they ain't ready to listen to it yet, right? You're like, ooh, see the way your breath smells like that? Your breath is not supposed to stink. Where is the breath? The breath comes here, but where does it come from? Your gut. Right. So what is happening there, right? So if your breath stinks, your stomach stinks. Your stomach stinks. Something is not
in there that's supposed to come out. It ain't supposed to stay in there. Whatever you had a month ago ain't supposed to still be in your stomach.
Hey, I can't wait to get my merch, man. I'm about to have 12 t-shirts. Coolest.
Yes.
We just need to know.
Wait. I gotta put this one up. Who is this young lady? I do remember bubble gut.
She's talking about a specific person too. I know exactly who she is. We're going on this
trip. Oh yeah.
We're going to LA and this one kid.
Do not say that name.
He was nervous. I'm not gonna say his name because he ain't a kid no more, but he was nervous. And
he was nervous.
Kid, man, shout out to that kid for sure.
Bubble gut. He came home with a trophy 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall. I'll just say that.
He used that nerves and it got him a championship. But
he got bubble guts, but he
had to pull over multiple times. So he could let that out. You know what I mean? And I mean, his thoughts, this is a kid, his thoughts ran into his body, pushing out. So here's the thing, what's happening there. That means you're pushing out nutrients. That means you're not absorbing things. Malabsorption is happening. That means, and here's the thing, right? The next day he's gonna eat some stuff, it's gonna be great again. But he just depleted minerals. He depleted vitamins. And so when we're like, should we go all natural supplement or not? Sometimes going all natural, but being nervous can wipe out your natural, right? Like, it's like, that's why supplementation is supposed to be an aid. You start eating and doing the right things, and then you add in certain kind of supplementation, even your workout. You supplement your sets with supersets is what they call it. So you might be hitting the bench press, before you relax, grab those other ones and start hitting that chest this way and superset it, right? It's a supplement exercise to the main exercise. That's exactly what this stuff is. Absolutely. Supplemental information is what you provide to people. They don't have to know this in order to make money at their job. But if they add the appeal of Your Body is a Snitch podcast, bloop, right in their mouth, what can happen is they could change their quality of life while they're living. You know what I mean? I think that's a big deal. I just think that's a big deal for sure.
If you want to know, that means you want to find out. So you're going to go to where you think you're going to find out. And a lot of people were not having these conversations with our doctors and stuff enough. But tell the doctor to stop talking over your head. You got to tell the doctor how to doctor you and stuff. They're waiting on that because they don't know what to do. They got all this stuff in their head. They over intelligent. And what do they get to do? They got to tell you that they're going to say the mechanics of this, and they can't talk to you the way you want to talk. You got to tell them.
But Dr. K, I'm going to say Dr. K. Okay, Dr. K over here in Vacaville, I found a down-to-earth, he might be the same age as me or at least a year or two older. And this dude is like, I'm talking about when I let him know, hey, listen, I need this for my job. Immediately, that same day, this boy is on it. And sometimes he even like gave me a wink one time where I was able to kind of get like expedited and get an MRI or something. I was like, hey man, how did I get that so quick? He was like, and I'm like, so when you rock it, I didn't just accept anybody, you know what I mean? But I ain't going to nobody. If I don't care what insurance I get, they got to accept him. My money, my insurance money, whatever I got going is going to bruh. Because the way that he treats me, I feel like we got to realize, just like your spouse or your person you're trying to date or whoever, don't just accept them because they're giving you attention. You know what I mean? He just walked up to you, oh, you know, or she walked up to you, oh, you like my shoulders, oh, you know, whatever. And we're like, oh, because you like, what about her? Her liking you is the reason why you're with her? That's weird, right? You didn't even get to evaluate who she is yet. So I think let's start to imagine your doctor the same way. You're dating these doctors. We talk bad about them because everybody just go get another
doctor.
Forget him. I know you've been with Dr. R for a while, right?
Yes.
Because you like
Rebecca.
her. She gets your stuff
and
going.
You know, she's a degree away from what I already am. But I will swear to the fact that is my doctor. I talk to her. She tell me about yourself. Yeah. And she listened to every single word. But guess what I do? Since my body is a snitch, I'm a snitch on my body. You see what I'm saying? So, I was itching. I was this. I had a headache. I feel like this. I got a backache. My feet hurt. My so-and-so. And I give her all of that and stuff. Do you think she get mad at me? No, she make it happen. You know what I just had recently, and we're gonna end it. But what I just recently had was this thing called a trigger finger. I sat there with my ring finger. Sure. Somebody put a ring on it. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, I sat there with my ring finger all this time, and it's hurting. I couldn't even ball my fist up. I couldn't do nothing, and all of this stuff. And I'm a nurse. But guess what? I tell y'all, your body is a snitch. Guess what? My finger was snitching. I even went to it and found it in my palm and found out what it was. Then I researched it only because I'm medically inclined. I researched it. And then I told on it that, one shot, and it didn't work immediately, but one shot, and now I got all my rotation in my handbag. Like they said, it was a shot, and I sat there in pain. Took Tylenol, rubbed CBD cream and all of that stuff on there, and massaged it and cracked my knuckles every day and stuff because it was hurting, and I didn't tell on it. Shame on me. That's why I'm telling you, I'm learning at the same time you guys are learning. I swear I'm not playing with you guys. I'm not trying to do no this or that and stuff like that. Like, this is real stuff. And it's everything you thinking, but you just don't know. I'm going to keep on revisiting blood pressure and strokes and heart attacks and diabetes and stuff like that. You guys got to know about this Ozempics and all these things, because we sitting there and stuff with these one thing, and we're putting a lot of poisons in our body. So I'm gonna revisit herbal and natural and supplementology and different things like that, because we got to learn how to start taking care of ourselves so that we live, and we don't live a jacked up life where we in pain for a long time, not able to even make a fist because I just didn't go to the doctor and they gave me one shot. It didn't feel good, by the way, but one shot and bam, I don't even think about it no more. It took me a week to not think about it, but months for me to go get this shot. I looked it up. I did the research and still didn't go to the doctor and get them to help me. And one appointment. And she said, I might not even see you again ever, and stuff like that. And she might not see me again ever because it's done and stuff. So I'm saying all of this to say that I'm passionate. I thank you, Mike Jefferson, my son, everybody and stuff, for getting on here and speaking his truth. This was not just a research or a guest speaker. This was a testimonial. He's living with this, but he was willing to come on my platform and express himself and let you know and stuff. And this stuff is, they're facts. They're facts. They could be researched and everything. But not only that, he is an expert. He doesn't think he's an expert, but he's absolutely an expert. If you're living with it, that makes you an expert and stuff. And so these are things that we need to look at and stuff, and don't sleep on the little things, that little thing, that itch that always was there, that tingling in your palms. We used to think, oh, you getting money. Sometimes it might be some money, in a superstitial type of way or something like that. But sometimes it might be some nerve damage, numbness and tingling, which is that little feeling you get and your whole arm go numb and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes that's a stroke. Sometimes that's, and stuff. So you got to tell on that. You got to tell on it, or it gets worse. Maybe it's just
what's crazy? Just full circle, being a substitute teacher, right? And I'm in class.
Absolutely.
I'll give a speech and be like, hey, look, my name is Mr. J. I'm from East Oakland, you know what I mean? Grew up, here's my experience. I'm going to let you know who I am because this is a new culture, you know what I mean? I don't know this classroom, so you guys, you going to help me out? They're like, yeah, we usually lock in well. I don't have behavioral issues typically. Now, here's the crazy part about the whole thing. I'll say this, and almost 100% of the time this happens. I'll say, hey, listen, I'm really good at math, by the way. I'm really good at these things. I'm great. So I can help you out. But I know that your task is to knock out these assignments. So I'll be here for you if you need me. We just had a good understanding. We might even get a joke or two and build a connection. I know they don't know me, though. I get that. Even once I've been to the class multiple times, though, this is still true. As soon as I say start, no one asks for help. I've noticed it as a unanimous thing. Nobody asked for help. That stuff has always been going on though.
Wow.
If you feel stupid, dumb, whatever, here's what you will do. In front of me, as I'm walking by, you'll say, hey, John, it's supposed to be silent, right? Let's say it's a test or something. Hey, John, can you help me figure out, like, they'll ask the guy next to him. And it's like, I'm the source. I got the answers right here. Right?
Yeah, I can help you.
I can help you. And they won't ask me. They'll go to the person next to them. And I started looking at the psychology that, and I get it. It's uncomfortable, it's this and that, but it's taught early, right? Let's say you asked a question that was stupid. Now you're the stupid kid. All of these things start to happen. So now we got 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds that don't know how to go and reach out.
Yeah.
And I think about
it. Oh my God.
Reach out in 5th grade is now the same adult that won't go find out why their thumb is tingling. You know what I mean? It's now the same adult that won't find out, like, man, I've been really, really tired. Like more than normal. I know maybe you're a female and you're going through your cycle, and it's like, man, maybe I'm at a certain point, but it's like beyond that. You've been here before, right? You've had a cycle your whole life, and your whole mature life. It's more. You know when it's more because you've already had your normal, and it's extra, and you don't go and check on that. You don't go and find out before it gets more. That's the same person. That same person. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to hurt nobody, but I am trying to say that to help you. To build that skill, go talk, go build a book, even if it means fire your doctor and say, hey, look, I want a different doctor. I need a new primary care physician.
I gotta talk about it.
Talk to that won't try to kick me out this room immediately because they got pressure on them. That could just really identify with me. Maybe they need to look like me. Maybe they need to talk like me. Maybe they need to come from where I come from. Go look at their names and go evaluate their track record. Go Google their names and find out who they are. It's a big deal. I think it's a huge deal. I think it's I feel like I just need to say that because that captured everything you were just saying right there.
Yes.
All of that, like,
yes.
You have that power. You know what I mean? So like that. Go snitch to your doctor on yourself. For sure. That was good.
Hell.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you guys. We went over a little bit, but this was something that was passionate. It needed to be said because guess what? You can, after we go off live and stuff, you can actually watch the replay. Go ahead and put some more comments on there and everything and stuff. We answering and looking at every single question asked, every single comment, and we may make a comment back or something like that. But all this information and stuff, we're going to post it. And then, you know what? Because it's so good and it's getting all this ground and traction and stuff, we're going to visit it again. Because it doesn't have to just be one part and then you never see it again and stuff. I'm on every single Tuesday. So we could take this, and even if we don't do it the following Tuesday or something like that and stuff, then we'll spread it out and everything. Talk about something else that's popping up and stuff. I got fentanyl crisis coming up. I got other different things and stuff. I want to talk about tattoos and body modifications and all those things and stuff like that, and all these little things and the gauges in your ears and different things and all of that stuff. And are they bad or are they good? What is the long term when you're 70 years old and you got a lip piercing or a tongue piercing? Is that really, damaging your mouth and stuff like that? So we're going to be talking about everything. And before I end it, your body's a snitch. I'm telling you, look for this stuff to come and everything. It's going to be good stuff coming out of this, honest stuff. And you're going to know what the mantra is. Your body is a snitch. Believe it. It's telling. Believe it. Not your body is a snitch. Snitches get stitches. But your body is a snitch. It's telling you why these things are happening. You gotta be able to express this stuff to people and stuff because they need to know this. They got to know what's going on and stuff because we're gonna lose people. They're gonna die. You're gonna be at more funerals than you ever been at in your life, including mine. If I don't tell, if Mike doesn't tell, if he didn't tell, how can he have? He has children. He has babies. He has a wife and a family to look out for and take care of and stuff. How could, this man with narcolepsy and stuff, I'm so grateful to his family, his extended family as well as us. We got him and stuff, but now his family, his wife's family got him too and stuff. And that's so important. That warms my heart that they love, they love on each other and stuff. But he had to tell. He had to tell and stuff. If he didn't tell, we would be in trouble right now. That's all I'm saying and stuff. So this was very important. It was a big passion of mine. I'm the mama of a narcoleptic and stuff. And it ain't no joke, but Michael J., I got you. I got you no matter what. But I got you and your whole family, your extended family and mine. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. We're not playing here. We supposed to get to the bottom of everything. And we're going to take care of everybody that will listen. Everybody that will listen. And just remember, like, tag, and share. Hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel because this is actually going live on YouTube as well as Facebook Live right now and everything. And just look out for me because I'm getting better and better every week at advertising and everything and stuff like that. And we doing good and stuff, and we're gonna take care of you and stuff one issue at a time. And remember, your body is a snitch. Believe it. Okay, we're in the medical talk in layman's terms with Nurse Charlene. Thank you, Michael Jefferson, for your dynamic speaking and testimonial. Thank you all for your interactions. We need it. That's what pumps us up. That's what gets us comfortable. And then we could get on in here and talk about some real medical stuff and how to get ourselves to the other end. Take care, you guys. We send our love.
Let's go.